here with Washington State women's basketball players, senior Ula Motuga and junior Charlisse Ledger-Walker. Ladies, you're coming off a 66-52 win over the Washington Huskies to even up the Apple Cup series. Charlisse, we'll just kind of start with you. Just how good does it feel to get this win over the Huskies after especially losing to them earlier this season, and just kind of, what were you seeing out there to allow you to have such offensive prowess out there today with 26 points and shooting very efficiently from the floors too?
Yeah, it feels great to get a win. It's always great winning over UW. We all know that. But I think just, in terms of our team and our mindset coming out today, obviously coming off 2 losses and, from my perspective, just coming in the gym, and it was really nice to see that everyone was still together, staying positive. And when I got back in the gym, it was easy transition just to slot right back in and help, obviously, where I can. But I think the mindset coming into this game, we're really aggressive defensively. I think ultimately our defense won us that game. I think we missed a lot of, bunnies and easy looks that we could have had, and obviously our turnovers are still way too high. But yeah, defensively, I thought we did a great job, really stuck to the game plan, and we're just really disciplined in that. So just proud of how we came out with that mindset. Obviously, so many things to work on and look forward to, but, we'll celebrate this win and just take it, take all the improvements into the rest of the Pac-12 play.
Charlisse, 22 of the 26 come in the second half. It just kind of seems like, maybe a little bit of rust in the first half, and then you get to the second half and it's kind of back to business as usual. Did something change in their defense, or was it just kind of that? As you just kind of got your feet under you and kind of got back to scoring at will?
Yeah, I don't think anything necessarily changed from their end defensively. I think in the first half, I was very much trying to just feel the game out, see how they were playing defensively, and then, in the halftime talk, Coachy and Laurie talked about how they were playing on balls, what the looks we should be getting were, and I think just me going in a bit more aggressive and taking open shots when they were there helped out a lot, and obviously maybe a little bit of rust in that first half, leaving things short and stuff like that, but second half just got those open looks again. People found me and just managed to knock them down, so yeah.
Ula, for you, as kind of Charlisse, as you said, is getting her feet or feeling out the game. You and Bella combined for 20 in the first half. Just kind of talk about that from your perspective. You guys are 2 of the most experienced players on the team, and just kind of, when you guys need offense, kind of turned to you in that first half, it felt like.
Yeah, I think we just had to, obviously, you look at our record before this in conference play, and we're 0-3. So everyone had to come out with an aggressive mindset in order to get this thing going. And I think that's where Bella and I were able to start it, even when, like you said, Charlisse may have not been hitting shots. They were still the right shots that we wanted her to take. And eventually, obviously, like you said, 22 points in the second half is insane. But yeah, it's all about just getting each other, I guess, through it and pushing through to get this thing rolling, and lucky enough we were able to get a win.
50 points in the paint. You almost outscored them just purely off points in the paint. Was there an emphasis to go kind of inside and really kind of try and punch them in the mouth that way?
Yeah, I think the way they play on balls especially when you have Charlisse coming off, because she's such a threat every time she's on the court. They have to obviously help up a bit more to try and force the ball out of her hands, and that's where she was able to find either Bella in the pocket or just throwbacks, and then it's straight to the paint. So I think that's where a lot of the paint touches came from, and obviously us just trying to be as aggressive as possible.
Ula, Charlisse, this is for either of you guys. Like was previously mentioned, you guys almost doubled their total points, like just in the paint. And for you guys, like you mentioned before, also 0-3 in conference play. Now that you kind of have a blueprint of, being able to take away a whole offensive ability for a team, how do you guys, from what you saw tonight, expect to carry that into further conference play this season?
I think it's, in Pac-12 play especially, every team is different, and it's so hard because there's so many different styles of play. So going forward, I don't necessarily think it's like a one game plan type of thing. Defensively, you know, we have to be really locked into the scout, really locked in at training and how we defend certain actions. And that's always a struggle, I think, for most teams, you know, is how you're going to come out and what your scheme is going to be defensively. So I think just going forward, we just have to stay disciplined in trainings and, you know, in film sessions and really be locked into how we're playing certain teams and, again, like individual players, because there's no blueprint necessarily for defensively, you know, just in general. So, I think it's just game to game, everybody locked in on how we want to play those teams.
I think if you look at UW, pretty much every game they play, they average probably or get at least 40 points in the paint based on their chin offense, like Charlisse was saying. And so that was also a huge emphasis for us, is being able to take away as many back-up layups as we could, because the big is so high and obviously it leaves a lot of space. We gave up a few, but I think we were able to meet our goal in limiting that as much as possible. But yeah.
Congrats on the win.
Thanks.
Just the first. So UW's a talented team with rebounding specifically, and I guess just prior to this game, you guys were ranked last in the Pac-12, but still decent at getting rebounds. What is your emphasis this past week on getting those rebounds?
It was just something that was just a key for us, you know, our focus. It was reiterated in trainings. It was reiterated in the game, before the game, halftime. You know, it's something that Coachy almost always ended all of her talks on, was offensive rebounds, limiting the offensive rebounds. You know, I think before the game, they get about 49% of their O boards or something high and crazy like that. So, you know, I think just reiterating all of that stuff and having it in the back of our mind really helps us all lock in and focus on limiting that, and just really, you know, just going up and being aggressive. And we know they're physical on the boards, and we know, you know, all 5 of them are going to the boards. So I think, again, just everybody locking in and being really focused on boxing out and securing the rebounds is just the focus that we had today.
And how did you kind of solve UW's defensive puzzle? I guess they held Utah, I think, to you kind of spoke to it earlier. They held Utah to like their season low points. Yeah. What was kind of the focus going in on trying to how to solve there?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's just like an emphasis on being aggressive. We came out and we started aggressive. I think if you look at our previous starts, hasn't been good in games, but we just came out with the willingness to get a win, and especially in an Apple Cup game, which is huge to us and huge to Pullman, WSU, and everyone. So it was just us wanting to get a win and break that 0-3.
Right. Yeah, and I think just like keeping it simple as well, because a lot of times teams can get really caught up in being finesse and, you know, trying to do too much. But I mean, I think Bella had, 16 or something in the first half, and that was all just bread and butter, like inside paint touches. So I think just moving the ball and getting it to where we want to really helped with that as well.
And at least you kind of there was like back and forth in the first quarter for sure, and then you had like that one steal that led to points, I think, on the end of the floor. What's your focus in terms of getting the ball, and like how do you kind of lure the opponent into kind of giving you the ball, or how do you take the ball?
Like for steals?
Yeah, the steals.
I think that just comes from knowing their offense and being locked in on the scout. You know, if you know where the ball is going to go and you know what they're looking for, it's really easy to anticipate. And I think, you know, a lot of the steals that I got today they were just looking for back cuts, and literally it wasn't even athletic. Like I just put my hand up and they threw the ball into my hand. So I'm deceiving. But no, it's just like, it really is just knowing the scout and knowing the offense. And I think when you know what they're looking for, it's really easy to make those reads. And I would just say that's pretty much the key.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi. Just one simple question, I guess. Just going between the two benches, the WSU bench was always loud, ruckus, always talking to their teammates, encouraging them. UW seemed to be quiet as a nail. Yeah. So how does, like, for instance, you guys' like way that you handle yourself on the bench, like cheering your teammates on or like giving them spotting alerts, how does that reflect kind of, let's say, like your locker room, and how do you guys handle each other in that sense?
Yeah, I think a big thing about UW is they are, I think, a major aspect that probably contributed to why they were so quiet was how much of a good atmosphere today was. I think it's been a while since we've been able to get that many people, both community members, and then obviously the student section. And so when every time we score, regardless of however the score is, you have a crowd who's getting in and getting amongst it. It's disheartening. I think it was like that for us when we were over there.
Yeah.
It sucks being on the opposite side. So I think that is a major thing. But normally they are really good and rowdy, but it's hard because not everyone's up and rowdy when they're losing. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the atmosphere contributes so much, and obviously we had a lot of momentum throughout the game, so it's easy to, you know, be hyped up and be cheering for your teams when you're scoring and when you're ahead. And on the opposite end, obviously UW, if you're not scoring and you're not getting, you know, big plays, you're not really cheering, and it's really hard to get your team going. So yeah, I just agree with Ula. You know, the atmosphere contributes a lot to that, and you know, I commend our bench a lot. I mean, they were great today. They brought so much energy, and that just kept the momentum flowing even more.
Please keep coming to our games.
Yes, please keep coming to our games. When is our next game?
All right, ladies. Well, thank you for your time. Congratulations on the win. Best of luck next week in Oregon. And until then, go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.